Hello and welcome to the Real Producers Podcast. I'm your host, Remington Ramsey, and today we are going to focus on the entire history of Real Producers leading up until now, give you a snapshot of where we are at, and also give you a snapshot of what the purpose of this podcast is moving forward. As I said before, my name is Remington Ramsey, and I'm the creator of Real Producers. I'm going to share with you my background, my story, and the creation of Real Producers. And that really starts with me selling knives. I personally didn't really have a background in real estate until I started selling closing gifts, which were Cutco knives, to real estate agents. And over the course of a couple of years, I got pretty good at it. I sold some closing gifts and I learned a lot about real estate. But the frustrating thing to me was I was meeting with realtors and essentially trying to build a business without really knowing who the top realtors were. And the reason that was important is because unless they were selling real estate, they could not afford my gifts and I could not provide for my family. And so in time, I realized that there were some things that worked and some things that didn't as it pertained to winning the business of top real estate agents. I start there because a lot of people think that it was a realtor or a real estate company that created this, and it wasn't. It was actually birthed out of a necessity of a third-party vendor. And I have a huge appreciation for what our partners, our affiliates go through on a regular basis, trying to groom relationships with the top agents and continue to build their business in that way. I also have a huge passion for the realtors themselves. If you look at our magazine across the nation in every market, the reason we've grown as quickly as we have, and just so you know, the first one launched back in 2015, back with Mr. Dick Richwine, who's going to be my first guest. Dick was actually the top realtor in Indiana. He was the first realtor to do over $100 million worth of business. And he was on the first ever cover back in June of 2015. Since that time, we have, again, grown to what is 125 markets today. Our goal is to be in about 200 markets when all is said and done for this particular product, but it doesn't stop there. I mean, we're just now getting to the podcast. We're going to start having national events there. This movement is very real. And the reason it has grown the way it has is because of three types of people that are involved in every single market. The first one is the realtors themselves. Realtors care about this product. They care about the magazine because it's all about them, by them, and for them, right? So they're contributing to the magazine. They're on the cover. They're on the inside. Their stories. They're sharing this with their sphere, with their listings, and they're sharing their stories in a very real way. We've shared stories of people who are raising kids with special needs. And then, if I'm also a realtor or an affiliate that didn't know that and is struggling in that area, now we're people helping people that also happen to be in the same industry. We are also sharing stories of triumph. I know in one of our markets we had females who were attacked on their first ever listing appointment and breaking through the mental barriers and then now becoming a top realtor herself and then sharing her story all over for women or anyone who's attacked within the industry. And so if you look at the purpose of this podcast moving forward, we're going to be sharing intimate stories and interviewing the top realtors in the nation who aren't all just good at selling houses. They aren't all just good at building a business. And we will talk about that. What are the ins and outs of a successful agent? But what are their stories outside of that? And that's really why, again, we've seen the success we have. The first type of person is the realtor. The second type of person that is the reason why we have seen the success that we have is the affiliate. I mean, that's 95% of our revenue is coming from the affiliate partners of the magazine. And we do our best as publishers to make sure that we're meeting with the best of the best, not just people who are going to throw money at their problems, but really engage in the platform, show up to the events, congratulate the realtors that are in the features. And that partnering with the best of the best has become not easier, but we're the bigger that Real Producers grows and they can see it in different parts of the country. We have regional companies, nationwide companies that are coming to us that said, "Hey, no matter where you launch, put us in. We're ready." And then the third type of person, and probably one of, if not the most important person, important to the growth of the franchise are the publishers that we're hiring. We spend a lot of time and money trying to find the right people that we know are going to fit the culture of our company, Real Producers, and our parent company, Into Publishing, but then also are going to represent real estate well and actually engage in the platform and from their own perspectives and make sure that the realtors have everything they need and the affiliates have everything they need, and bring the group, the culture of real estate in that city together and make it stronger. There was a realtor in Dallas that put it best about, I think, in terms of what we've done in the cities that we've launched in, is if you look at the hotel industry was a kind of a cutthroat industry, and they were all advertising against each other. No one was on the same team until Airbnb came along. And now what you saw is this outside entity attacking the industry, cause hotels to band together, join partnerships and co-marketing. And it was all to fight this outside attacking entity. And I think real estate is under fire. I mean, you can see it all over with the transaction itself is more virtually based. You have internet mortgage. You have all these things that are attacking the realtor. Businesses created to take commissions away from realtors, full-time salaried position jobs, all these things. And now what you're seeing is in this market, agents are coming together, doing master classes, masterminds together, joining forces to fight this outside entity that is attacking real estate, there's a bunch of them. And so as you hear this story of how we were birthed and you think about the guests that we will have on, I hope you yourself, the listener, will engage and find inspiration in the stories of not just Real Producers, but the people that are featured within our magazines. Back in 2015, when I first launched the very first magazine, we didn't know what we had. We knew it was going to be cool. We knew it was going to be successful in Indianapolis, and it was. Then the second step was seeing if it could be successful other places. And I actually approached Into Publishing, the owners, the co-founders, Dwayne and Earl, which they should have their own podcast just based off their names, Dwayne and Earl. Those are the owners of our monster parent company, wildly successful Into Publishing, $130 million company. They were already in the cities I wanted to be in. And so I said, hey, let's join forces. I've got this concept. You have everything else. Let's make this happen. And they've been amazing to work with. And they're the reason why the magazine doesn't show up late and crumbled or inverted colors, black and white. They got all that out in the early days of Into and allowed us to create an awesome product from day one. So then you flash forward a couple of years, and 2017 was when we saw the most growth. I think we had 22 recruits come on that year, all of which who have done a phenomenal job of engaging in the platform in their respective cities. And so if you think about it, 100, I'm not good at math, but you've got 100 cities with 12 features a year. It's over 1,000 features just on the covers themselves that we'll have opportunities of speaking with rock stars and real estate that have been through the ringer. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I know someone like that, I'm a realtor, maybe it's you. Maybe you have a good short story to share with us. Send it in. Visit us at realproducersmag.com. And there's a tab there where you can actually send us stories. You can nominate yourself, nominate others, very much so like the magazine itself. I wanted to finish today's first podcast with just the whole reason why the concept of Real Producers works. Real Producers in itself, the value for the realtor is basic, right? The realtors, I still personally run a franchise for Real Producers here in Indianapolis. And I've been in offices where I see realtors with stacks of the last 12, 20, 30 issues on their desk. And they have staying power. They have real, they're like trophies, right? And it's because it's a badge of honor to even receive the magazine. But the stories and the features and the ability, if I could be promoted from a third-party company who has nothing to do with me, validating my business, I'm going to use that. That's way better than me going on appointment saying, hey, I'm the top realtor. I'm the one telling you this. This is someone else telling the world this, and it's through the magazine. They win listing appointments through it. Realtors in general who engage within the process and come to the events win every single time. The affiliates, makes sense. It's the same thing. If affiliate, if I'm going to give you my money to meet more realtors, we're going to make sure that we're doing everything we can to be at those events. We're going to make sure that we're engaging in the platform and sending off handwritten notes and congratulating people who are featured and being real with them and talking about what they actually learned when they read their story. Right. And so as you think about, again, engaging in this podcast, I would encourage you to engage in your local real producers, engage in the magazine, make sure you're going to all the events, strengthen the real estate community, because it doesn't matter where we're at. Like, we're launching this podcast, and by the time I actually launch it, from the time I filmed this, even a couple of days, something's going to happen with the interest rates, and the whole real estate world is going to be flown upside down, and the sky is falling, and you're going to have to talk to the consumer and educate them on what's actually going down. But one thing is true. The agents that are on these lists, a lot of them withstood 2008, withstood the 2000s, have seen recessions, have seen world tragedies, and they're still around. And some of you guys who launched during these things, I actually got into sales in 2008. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I just put my head down and worked. That's probably one of the best things that ever could have happened to me in my business, is launching during a time where everyone said it's impossible to sell products right now. So engage in the platform, listen to these stories, send us features, send us nominations of people that you think have incredible stories, and find inspiration and hope in this world of real estate that we all love so much. I'm your host, Remington Ramsey. This has been Real Producers Podcast. Join us next time for the first episode with Mr. Dick Richwine, the first ever Real Producer. Thanks for listening to Real Producers, and especially thank you for sharing the show with other agents and reviewing the show on your favorite app. Every time you share the show, you are potentially changing someone else's life. To learn more about Real Producers Magazine and events in your area, visit realproducersmag.com and stay tuned for the next episode of Real Producers.